Hey y'all, I'm Hannah Kessler. It's a pleasure to meet you. You probably stumbled upon this video because maybe your friend sent it to you, your family member. Maybe you know me on my podcast show, the Money Multiplier podcast. Or maybe we even met each other in person before at a live event. Today, we're just here to learn. I want to teach you about a concept and a process that's called the infinite banking concept. Now, some of you, maybe you have heard about this before, but maybe it's never been explained to you in this way. And some of y'all, maybe this is the first time you're ever hearing about this, and I'm about to challenge your conventional thinking when it comes to your money. You see, we do things with money that we would never do with things that money buys. Y'all are really great at making your money, but we suck at keeping it. So I just want to show you a concept and a process of how to keep the money in your family. I don't want you to work any harder, take any additional risk, or lose control of your cash flow. All we're doing is adding this one additional step. So the name of my company is the Money Multiplier. You can see my contact info up there on the screen, and my cell phone number, my email, then also our website, themoneymultiplier.com. Now, who am I? Right? My name's Hannah. I grew up in Kansas City. I now live in Daytona Beach, Florida, moved down there in 2018. But I want to share a little bit about my family's background of how we got introduced to this, because I truly am second generation to this concept. So you see that bald-headed guy right up there on the screen? That's my dad. His name is Britt Kessler. So Dad, he was actually a chiropractor. He owned 5 clinics in the Kansas City area, and he was sitting in the audience at a chiropractic convention. And there was a gentleman up there on stage teaching about this concept. And Dad was kind of sitting there in the audience with his arms crossed like this, and he goes, "Man, that stuff looks really, really good, but it kind of looks just too good to be true." I mean, have you ever heard anything like that? Something too good to be true? So what Dad did is he bought Nelson's book. And I'll talk more about Nelson Nash here in a second. But he bought Nelson's book. He took the book home, he set it on the shelf, and he didn't do anything with the information. 2 years later, 2008, he went back to the same chiropractic convention, and he was greeted by about 10 or 12 of his colleagues. They were coming up to him and hooting and hollering about this banking concept. "Brent, isn't this concept so cool? I'm able to pay off my debt, pay the salaries of my key employees. I'm able to pay the overhead expenses of my office, and I'm all able to recycle and recapture that money back into my family and my business." So Dad thought to himself, all right, well, there's got to be some truth to this. I mean, there's no way that 10 or 12 of my closest colleagues are lying to me right now. Maybe 1 or 2 of them, but no way 10 or 12 of them are lying to me about this stuff. So that's when my family took action, was back in 2008. And back at that time, we had almost $1 million of debt. Pops actually has it nailed down to the exact penny. We had almost $1 million of debt, and by implementing this concept, we were able to pay it off in 39 months. 3 years, 3 months. He didn't work any harder, treat any more patients, work longer hours, lose control of his money. All he changed is where the money was flowing first. So we'll get into it here today. Now, R. Nelson Nash. I got to talk about this gentleman. Mr. R. Nelson Nash, he's the author of this black book, Becoming Your Own Banker. Now, this is a book that you need to add to your wealth building library. This book, you can go to our website, themoneymultiplier.com. Honestly, I'm not in the book selling business, so go get it on Amazon. But this book you definitely need to add to your wealth building library. All of the information that I'm going to cover here today stems and comes from this book here, Becoming Your Own Banker. Also, if you got a little ADD like myself, it also comes with 2 hours of audio. All right? So go and get that black book. Now, my gift to you for being here, spending your time with me today. If you send me an email, Hannah spelled the same ways, forwards and backwards, Hannah@themoneymultiplier.com, I will send you a copy of our ebook, Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery. Now, this is a book that my father and my business partner, Chris Noggle, wrote together. It's really a spin-off of Nelson Nash's teachings in that black book, Becoming Your Own Banker. So send me an email and I will send you a copy of our ebook of Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery. All right, before we get into it here today, what are we going to be talking about? So money is what we're here talking about today. Now, in order for us to have this conversation around money, we have to agree on the definition of money. So if I were to ask you, what is the definition of money, what would you tell me? You probably gave me a lot of good answers. But here's all money is. Money's nothing more than a means of exchange, is it not? All we do with money all day long is we exchange it for the goods, the products, the services that we're buying in life. Money for food, food for money, money for house, house for money, money for car, car for money. Right? That's all money is. So, for the next 6.5 hours that I have your attention here tonight, that's going to be our definition of money. Can we agree on that? All right. This stuff that I'm going to cover, it is totally outside the box thinking. This is not what your parents are doing, your friends are doing, your boss, your colleagues, your coworkers are doing with their money. I know you're going to have questions as I go through this, and we're going to be walking through some paradigm shifts together. So I like to play this video just because it gets our minds geared into being open and receptive to new ideas and new ideologies. Now, this is a video, you can find it on YouTube. It's called The Backwards Bicycle. It gets our minds geared into understanding that no, knowledge does not equal understanding, and you are, whether you understand it or realize it or not, you are viewing life and ideas through a bias and a lens. There's a gentleman, his name is Will Rogers. You know what Will Rogers says? He says, the problem in America isn't so much what people don't know, it's what they think they know that just ain't so. So again, a lot of the things that we've been taught about money, dollars, and wealth may not actually be the truth. And we're going to be walking through some paradigm shifts here, and I'm about to change some of that conventional teaching and wisdom that we've been taught up to this point in our life. I know you're going to have questions. I want you to write those questions down. You know what my father has always taught me? A short pencil is better than a long memory. Don't just try to keep the questions up here because you'll forget them. Write them down, and I promise I'm going to be here to help answer them. Now, we're going to get into how does our money flow and the method to get all of the money back. Y'all, before I get done here today, I'm going to show you how to get all the money back for just the cars that you're buying and driving for yourself for your life. So what that means is when you go in, you go purchase your car, you have that money, you go down to the car dealership, you hand over the money, they hand you back the car, transaction's done, everybody walks away. But here's how I purchase my cars. I take that same money, I go down to the car dealership, hand over the money, they give me the car. But now I have a system and a process to get all of that money back for the car that I just bought. And I just use it for cars. When I'm teaching this concept, we all just get cars. We've all ridden in cars, driven cars, bought in cars. We just understand cars. But this is for anything and everything that you are doing in your life. Your taxes, your vacations, your charitable giving, sending the kids to college, or your retirement income. We're just scratching the surface right now. Now, we're going to get into the mysteries of money. The machine. I mean, what is the machine that we're going to be using to build our wealth? We're going to talk about the mission and the marathon. I'm telling you right now, this is not a get-rich-quick kind of deal. This is a marathon. This is an additional step that we're adding to our financial life. We're going to talk about the millionaire and then the movement. All right, let's get into the fun stuff. You see that there's 3 calculators up here on the screen. let's make believe that you are in the market and you want to go purchase yourself a car. And right now, at your savings account down at the local bank, we're going to make believe that there's $25,000 that's sitting in your savings account. And at that savings account, they're paying you 4% interest. Okay, I know they're maybe not, but we're going to make believe that we found a really, really good bank, and this bank is going to pay us 4% on our money. Now, just follow me. There's a method to my madness here. So you walk into the bank, and let's make believe that I'm your bank teller. You walk in and you say, Banker Hannah, I want to take out that $25,000 that's earning me 4%, and I want to go pay cash for this car. And y'all tend to bump up your chest like this. I want to go pay cash for that car. Y'all love paying cash for things. You think when you pay cash for stuff, you don't got to pay any payments and you don't got to pay any interest. But is that the truth? Ponder on it. We'll come back to it. So you walk in and you say, hey, I want to take out that 25 that's earning me 4% and I want to go pay cash for this car. I turn to you. I say, no. Instead, how about I make you a loan for $25,000? I'll make you a loan for $25,000 and I'll charge you 6% interest. Okay. If I were to take out a loan for $25,000, how long does it normally take me to pay off that loan? 4 years, 5 years, 6 years? Let's go with 5 years or 60 months. Instead, how about I make you a loan for $25,000? I'm going to charge you 6% interest. And over the same equal time period of 5 years or 60 months, our bank is going to pay you more money on the 25 that you're earning at 4 than you'll pay us on the 25 that you're borrowing at 6. Is that a true statement? In other words, can I make money earning 4% at the same time I'm paying 6? Well, no. My simple mind is thinking, well, hey, if I earn 4, pay 6, 4 minus 6 equals -2. As us millennials say, that math ain't mathin'. But the banker told you the truth, and I want to walk through it. If you took out that loan of $25,000, 6% interest over the 60 months, your monthly payment would be $483.32 a month for the car. You take the $483.32 times the 60 months, you just paid $28,999 for the car. So $25,000 in principal, about $4,000 in interest. Over the same time period in your savings account, your ending balance is $30,525. So here's my question. Is this $30,525? Is this a larger number than the $28,999? Or do y'all do math differently around the world than what I do in Daytona Beach, Florida? It's a larger number. Well, why is that? I thought if I earn 4, pay 6, I'm going to be losing some. What's going on? I'll tell you what's going on. Over here in your savings account, this is on an increasing scale. This is going up each and every month. While your payment calculator, this is on a decreasing scale. This is going down each and every month. So one's going up, the other one's going down, but our minds are not programmed to think that way. Y'all, this is just math. Run the same numbers with you earning 10% at the same time you're paying 20, and you're still going to come out on top. We got to start understanding how money actually works. Because I'm telling you right now, it's not the rate of the interest that's killing you. It's the volume of the interest that you're sending out the door to other people. So why were my numbers important here? I want to talk about the machine. The machine that we're going to be using to build our wealth, a whole life insurance policy, and a mutual company that pays dividends. Now I get it. Before you slam the computer down, run out of the room, and you vomit on me, You're thinking to yourself, Hannah, hold on, Hannah, I know everything there is to know about whole life insurance. Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman, they told me whole life insurance is the worst place to put my money. I get it. Do you get why it took my family 2 years to start this stuff? Dad was actually Dave Ramsey's baby step follower. But here's my question. Why do we want to use whole life? Why whole life? Yeah, you get compounding. You can leverage against it. But here's the number one reason why we're using whole life. This is what the elite and the wealthy are doing. The number one purchasers of whole life insurance in the world are conventional banks. Conventional banks actually own more in whole life insurance than all of their land and their buildings combined. And a matter of fact, since 2013, banks have even quadrupled their portfolio of how much whole life insurance they actually own. Are they stupid? Or are they doing something the rest of us just don't know about? They're probably doing something. And I want y'all to go fact check me on this stuff. Don't just take my flab and gums for it. Go Google something called BOLI, B-O-L-I. It stands for Bank-Owned Life Insurance. You can look up the hundreds of pages that come up of how much whole life insurance these banks actually own. Now, I want to be specifically clear. This is not just the traditional whole life insurance that you can go and buy off the shelf from your brother-in-law that sells life insurance. We all got a brother-in-law that sells life insurance, do we not? No, it's got to be designed specifically for high immediate cash value banking. So what I mean by that is when I put $1 into this policy, I immediately, my definition of immediately is within 30 days, I have access to cash value in there that I can take it out and start using it. So let's go back. Why was my 4 and 6% important? Inside of the policy contract, you get a guaranteed interest rate. You get a guaranteed interest rate inside of that policy contract. Not even going to talk about the dividends. And the highest interest rate that the insurance company will ever charge you to take out a loan is 6%. So can I make money earning 4 at the same time I'm paying 6? Yes. I want to move on. I want to talk a little bit deeper about money. We talked about the definition of money. Money's nothing more than just a means of exchange. But what's the purpose of money? The purpose of money is for me to go out and buy the things in life, right? Buy my houses, buy my cars, send the kids to college, go on my vacations. That's all the purpose of money is. Let's go deeper into that. Who in here believes in compound interest? All of us. We've all been taught that compound interest is such a great thing. But in order for compounding to actually work, we have to let our money, our product or goods sit still somewhere. For example, I have this $100 bill in my pocket. If I want this $100 bill to go and compound, I would take it, I'd walk into the bank, I'd say, hey, Mr. Banker, here's my $100. They take it, and now it's compounding. If I go back in a year, a month, a day, and I want that $100 back out, I've now stopped the compounding on that money. But isn't motion a natural law of God? Everything in life is about motion. I'm standing up here, I'm flailing my arms. I look outside, I see the birds in motion, the cars moving around. Who wants to eat fish out of a stagnant pond? I don't. Compounding stops that motion. I want y'all to name me one business in the world that actually uses compound interest. Name me one business. I know which one y'all are thinking about. You're thinking about banks. Hey, the banks use compound interest. Let's talk about it. Do banks use compound interest? No. They pay you compound interest, and they charge you compound interest, but they're not using it themselves. Here's what I mean by that. If I take this $100 bill here, I highlight it and I put my initials on it. And I walk into the bank, I say, hey, Mr. Banker, here's my $100. Do you think there's a little black box in the back that says Hannah Kessler, and they wait until I come and retrieve my $100? No, because if I go back in a month, a day, a few hours, and I want to withdraw my $100 back out, do you think they're going to give me the same one that I highlighted and I put my initials on? No, because what are banks doing? Banks are moving the money. Banks are in the lending business. So not one business in the world actually uses compound interest. So don't you think it's a little strange that these big major institutes, banks, Wall Street, mutual funds, they all tell us to park our money there with them, but they're not actually doing it themselves? Think about it. How much does a car dealership make if cars aren't moving on and off the lot? Zero. How much does a grocery store make if the fresh produce is just sitting on the shelves, rotting and compounding? Zero. How much do we as real estate investors make if tenants aren't moving in and out of properties, if properties are just sitting on the market, stagnant and compounding? Zero. So not one business in the world actually uses compound interest. Let's go deeper into that. I want to talk about what y'all are using your money for right now. What are you guys doing with your money? Who in here has a 401k or an IRA? Most of us. Most of our hands go up. And why do we have those types of accounts? Well, I have it because, I'm putting money away. I'm saving up for retirement in the future. I get it. It's what my boss told me to do. My friends and my family members are doing the exact same thing. I want to ask you about that retirement account. Are there any guarantees? No. Well, there's one guaranteed. It's guaranteed to never go below zero. But how fun and exciting would that be if that actually happens? And who controls that account? Is it you or somebody else? Somebody else. And on top of that, how long do you have to keep your money in that IRA, that 401k, just to avoid the 10% penalty? Age 59 and a half. Even if you take it out after age 59 and a half, the tax is still going to be there. I want you to tell me everything that you know about that retirement account. No, wait, you don't tell me what you know. I'll tell you what you know. You know whether it goes up or down based on those quarterly statements that you get. You know whether the dollars are invested in a low, moderate, or high-risk category. But other than that, you don't know jack crap about your retirement account. There's no guarantees. Somebody else is controlling it, and you're just hoping and waiting that in the future the money's going to be there. Doesn't sound so sexy when I put it that way, right? I want to ask you some questions. Is the dollar worth more today or in the future? Today. If you ever forget about that, think about how many candy bars you could buy 10 years ago for $1 and how many you can buy today for $1. And our taxes going to go up or go down? They're going to go up. And if taxes don't go up, are we taxing more crap all the time? And when you go and pay the tax on the money, do you want to pay it at the small amount the seed or the large amount the harvest? The seed. I agree with all three of those answers, but you are totally violating them by putting your money in that 401k, that IRA, that qualified plan. Because you're giving up good dollars today to get paid back with non-guaranteed weaker dollars in the future. And then when you go and take out the money, you're just kicking the can down the street because when you go and take it out, you're paying the taxes and you're paying it on the large amount the harvest. Why are you doing that? It's all I've been taught, Hannah. That's just what I thought I was doing. I thought I was doing a great thing for myself. But here's what some of y'all are thinking. Hold on, Hannah, hold on. I got one of those special snowflake accounts. I get a match. I get a match in my retirement account. All right, let's go with your theory. I don't know if the principal's not guaranteed. I don't know how the match can be guaranteed, but let's go with your theory. You told me money's nothing more than a means of exchange. Let's say I have this $100 bill, and I go down to the grocery store. I purchase myself a loaf of bread and a gallon of milk. And I come back home, and I put it in the freezer. And I wait 5, 10, 20, 30 plus years into the future until I'm age 59 and a half. I open up that freezer. Guess what's in there? 2 loaves of bread and 2 gallons of milk. How much more fun and exciting is that second loaf of bread and second gallon of milk going to taste? Still going to be freezer burnt, is it not? Again, y'all do things with money that you would never do with things that money buys. You would never go out there, purchase yourself a house or a car, and wait 20 plus years into the future to move into the house or drive the car. Why are you doing that with your money? All right, just wanted to get y'all to start thinking about it. Think I beat that one up? Let's move on. I want to talk about how banks work. This is one of my favorite things to talk about. How do banks work? You see, you, the depositor, you put money into the bank. Let's just call it $100,000. Don't get hung up on the numbers. What I really want you to get is that this is your money. You put money into the bank, and we're going to make believe that we found a really, really good bank again, and that bank is going to pay us 4% on our money. So when you make that deposit into the bank, that deposit is now a liability to the bank because they got to pay you interest on it. So how does that bank turn that liability into an asset? They loan it. They loan your money back out to you or to other people, and they make a pretty good living off of it. Who besides myself has ever gone down to the bank, asked to borrow money to purchase a house? Let's call it 7%. Bank issues you the mortgage note. You go and purchase your house. Well, now that I got my house, I got to pay the banker back. I got to pay them back with interest, because if I don't, they're going to come and foreclose on me. So money goes back into the bank. Who besides myself has ever gone down to the bank, asked to borrow money to purchase a car? Let's call it 8%. Bank issues you the loan at 8. You go purchase your car. What do I got to do now? I got to pay the banker back. I got to pay them back with interest, because if I don't, I'm going to hear that beep, beep, beep as a tow truck is coming and towing it off my driveway. So money goes back into the bank. What about a home remodel? Maybe we want new granite countertops, a swimming pool in the backyard. Maybe we need a new roof. Let's call it 9%. Bank issues you the loan at 9%. You go pay off all the contractors. Money goes back into the bank. I hope you can see what's going on here. All banks do is they move money in, they move it out. They move it in, they move it out, they move it right back in again. Lastly, let's do a debt consolidation. Let's go pay off all the credit cards. Let's call it 12%. You go, pay them all off, money goes back into the bank. Now, I know math is not everybody's favorite subject, but we're going to do a little bit of math here. And I promise, I'm going to keep it very fun and very easy. I want to know, how well did we do compared to how well the banker did? Because remember, we found a really good bank, and that bank is paying us 4% on our money. So, in the first transaction of the house, bank made 7, we made 4. 7 minus 4 equals 3. I told you it was going to be easy. How about in the car transaction? Bank made 8, we made 4. 8 minus 4 equals 4. In the home remodel, bank made 9, we made 4. 9 minus 4 equals 5. And lastly, in the credit cards, the debt consolidation, bank made 12, we made 4. 12 minus 4 equals 8. If you add these all up, Bank made 20%, we made 4%. How much better did the bank do than us? You're thinking maybe 16%, Hannah. 20 minus 4 equals 16%. They made 16% more profits than what we did. No. How about 500% more than us? Because doesn't 4 go into 25 times? Banks are making no less than 400 to 1,300% annually on the money that you leave there with them. And I want you to fact check me on this stuff, y'all. Go search up BauerFinancial.com. B-A-U-E-R, BauerFinancial.com. You can look up the big banks that we all know the names of, or small hometown banks, but go and find their annual report. And I challenge y'all to do this. Y'all, I've been traveling around and teaching on this stuff for a long, long time. I ask every single person this. Go find me a bank that makes less than 400% annually on the money that you leave there with them. And if you do, you owe it to me to call me up and tell me, because I'll change my presentation slide and I'll give you the credit for it. It hasn't happened yet. You see, I do understand that the interest rate offsets the risk, but if you're too risky of a borrower anyways, is that banker even going to issue you the loan? No. So here's what I'm saying. Y'all are doing this in your life anyways. You're buying houses, you're buying cars, you're doing home remodels, and you're using credit cards. So why don't you just be the banker in your own life and you make all the interest, profits, and dividends on yourself, and rather the bankers making it on you? We could be anywhere in the world. We can be in my hometown, Daytona Beach, Florida. We can be up in New York City. We can be over in LA, California. I don't care. Think about it. When you go into the main intersection of town, there's 4 corners on that intersection. I want you to name me one of the buildings on those 4 corners. No, it's not Starbucks. It's a bank. And our banks are the bad landscaping, bad architecture, rundown property. No, man, they're like the nicest buildings in town. And a matter of fact, when you go into some banks, don't they even give you stuff? They sometimes offer you those dumb suckers. Ooh, that's a little ironic. Get this, at my bank in Daytona, if you go in there on a certain day of the week, they actually give you wine. They actually give you wine on a certain day of the week. And that's why you get me today giving this presentation to you, because my father went to the bank 7 times yesterday, and now he's in bed hungover. All right, I'm just kidding. Don't tell him I told you that. But it kind of makes sense, right? Because they're using our money, and they're able to do all of this stuff. Y'all, if you really want to nerd out on this, go look up fractional reserve lending. For every $1 that a depositor leaves there at the bank, they can now lend out anywhere from $8, $9, $10 for that $1 they hold backhand on their reserves. They're using our money and making a good living off of our money. So why don't I just be the banker in my own life, and then I'm the one who makes that interest on my money instead of them making a good living off of me? Now, I want to get into the fun stuff. I want to talk about how to get all the money back for all the cars that you're buying for yourself and your family in your lifetime. And like I mentioned, I understand this is for cars, and maybe you're the type of person, well, Hannah, I lease my cars. I don't buy cars. I get it. It's anything and everything. I just like to use the example of cars because we all get cars. Let's do a quick recap. What is the machine? The machine that we're using to build our wealth? A whole life insurance policy with a mutually owned company that pays dividends. Now, these policies, they need to be designed specifically for this infinite banking concept. Because when I put $1 of my premium into this policy, I immediately have cash value in there that I can take out and start using. Notice how I said the word premium. Here's where the paradigm shift starts to happen. Your premiums equal your deposits. Because if I put money into an account that I own, I control, and I have immediate access to the cash, is that treated more as a payment or a deposit? I say deposit. And what word do you like better, payment or deposit? We also have age and death benefit. I'm going to blow this up. You'll notice age and death benefit are grayed out. You know why they're grayed out? Because they do not matter. Oof. I know I just hit a chord with some folks, my analyticals listening right now. If I don't cover age and death benefit, you're not going to pick up anything else that I say moving forward. So let's talk about age and death benefit, and we'll talk about it quickly. I want you to make believe that we have 3 individuals, age 20, 40, and 60, all of the same equal health. Let's make believe they have a $100 bill in their pocket, and they're going to walk in to the grocery store. Who between my ages 20, 40, and 60 is going to be able to buy the most amount of groceries with their $100? Well, all of them. Doesn't matter how good you look, how bad you smell, color of your skin, the language that you speak. I mean, the same $100 is going to buy you the same amount of groceries. Now, let's walk across the street to the life insurance store. Age 20, 40, and 60, all in the same equal health. Who's going to be able to buy the most amount of death benefit with their $100? Well, the younger one, right? That just makes sense. That money is just going to buy him more in death benefit because he's younger. But I'm not here talking to you about death benefit. No, I'm here talking to you about the cash and the cash that we can use within inside of that policy. Death benefit's going to be on the policy whether you like it or not. And I really want to drive this point home because I'm going to get done here and you're going to be thinking to yourself, wow, that was some really cool and powerful information. But Hannah, I'm just too old to do this. No, you're not. Just because you're older means you're going to have a lower death benefit compared to your child or grandchild. But if y'all put the same amount of cash or premium into your policy, the cash value is going to be the same. Does that make sense? Let's move on. In this example, over here on the left, it's just time. Year 1 to 8, 9 to 13. Policy premium deposit. In this example, this gentleman says, okay, I know that I am worth $10,000 a year or $835 a month. So he decided he wanted to put in $10,000 inside of his premium every single year. You may be thinking to yourself, Hannah, there's no way I'm going to put $10,000 to his stupid life insurance policy. I get it. You don't have to do 10,000. Shave off a 0, do 1,000. Add a 0, do 100,000. I don't care what you do. You get to decide how much premium you want to put into your policy. When I was 18 years old and I started my first policy, I was still a waitress at Cracker Barrel. There's no way that I could put $10,000 a year into a life insurance contract on a waitress salary. I started at $400 a month. How I came to $400 a month is that's how much I was saving every month. Back then, I was saving up about $100 a week. Dad came to me and he says, hey, now that you're 18 years old, you can start your first policy, be the owner of it. So you're going to start it at $400 a month. I said, okay, I didn't know everything that I know now. And I was like, okay, Dad, I'll start this stupid life insurance policy. Sure, right? So you get to decide how much you want to put into your policy. And you can pay these premiums monthly, quarterly, twice a year, annual. You get to pick the mode of how often you want to put them in. So in this example, he puts in $10,000 inside of his premium for his policy, and he's making those premiums over the next 7 years. Now in year 4, he's in the market and he wants to go purchase himself a car. Another note, I would never have you wait until year 4 to start using the cash value that's in your policy. Because how soon did I tell you that the cash becomes available to you? Immediately, within 30 days. I'm just doing this to isolate the car purchase here. So in year 4, he's in the market. He wants to go purchase himself a $25,000 car. He pulls the $25,000 from the cash value that's in his policy. Takes it out, walks down to the car dealership, hands over the money. They hand him the car. Everybody walks away. The transaction's done. But now because he borrowed from himself, don't you think it's a good idea? He should pay himself back with interest. I see a lot of, yes, Hannah, that's a good idea. But do y'all ever do it? No. Pay yourself back and charge yourself interest. Treat your money just how you treat the bank's money. Because if you don't, all you're saying is the banker's money is more valuable than your money, and that's just not the truth. So he's going to pay himself back $500 a month or $6,000 a year over the next 5 years. So he put back the $25,000 in principal, and he put back an additional $5,000 of interest he charged himself. Let's see what happened here from year 1 to year 8. Year 1 to year 8, he put in $70,000 of his premium deposits, plus $30,000 of his loan repayments back to himself. So a total of $100,000 went into the policy thus far. But he took out $25,000 to purchase that car. So $100,000 went in, I've taken out $25,000. $100,000 minus $25,000 is $75,000. So my true net injection is $75,000, but I'm sitting here at year 8 with $73,226 as cash value in the policy. If you take $73,000, divide it into 75, you just got back 97 cents for every dollar that you spent for that car. Wait, Hannah, hold on. I'm just not getting it. I'm not getting it. How is the money still growing even though I'm taking it out and I'm using it? Here's the next big aha moment. If you've been sleeping up to this point, now time to wake up. The whole purpose of why we're running the money through the policy first is because once that dollar hits the policy, now starts that time clock of the uninterrupted compounding that we are getting on that money. Because you see, we are not withdrawing the money out. Remember how I asked you on the forefront? You think when you pay cash for things, you don't got to pay any interest and you don't have any payments? Here's what you're doing. If I have this $100 bill and it's sitting in my checking or savings account at the local bank, and I withdraw the $100 out to go pay cash for something, the money's gone. I have to go work or earn this $100 again to get it back inside of my pocket, earning me interest again. You're losing out on what's called the opportunity cost of the money. That's another research thing I would do, opportunity cost of your money. Meaning that you're losing out on all of the future earning rights that money could have bought you. You see, when I add the one additional step of running my money through the policy first, I'm never losing out on that opportunity cost or the future earning rights, because now I get that uninterrupted compounding and I'm still able to use the cash out here in the real world. I sum it up and I say I'm double dipping on my money. Let's move on. Because that car, it wears out. So, we want to go purchase another car. Year 9, we're in the market. We want to go purchase another $25,000 car. Where do we pull the $25,000 from? The cash value that's in our policy. From year 9 to 13, there's no more premiums that are going into the policy up to this point. So, when I take out my $25,000, I do the same thing. Walk down to the car dealership. Here's my $25,000. They hand me the car. The transaction's done. Now, because I borrowed from my bank, I'm going to do the same thing, pay myself back, and I'm going to charge myself interest. It's $500 a month or $6,000 a year for the next 5 years. Let's see what happened from year 9 to 13. You put back $30,000 for the second car purchase, but you took out $25,000 to go purchase the car. So you put in $30,000, took out $25,000. $30,000 minus $25,000 is $5,000. So with the $5,000 net injection, your cash grew from $73,000 to $95,000. That's a $22,000 growth with a $5,000 net injection. How do you like buying cars my way? Is there anything stupid, ridiculous, or idiotic here that I did? No. I just bought a stupid-ass life insurance policy, and I'm using it to buy my cars. Y'all are going to go buy the cars anyways. Probably thinking to yourself, Hannah, that wasn't very nice. Why'd you use the word ass? Well, some of y'all are putting away your dishes, you're burping the baby, you're taking a walk around the neighborhood. But ever since I said that word, you guys are right back up here to the screen. So hello, welcome back to class. Because I want you to get this. Here's the next big aha moment. Look here. Let's see what happened from year 1 to year 13. Because 13 years goes by pretty darn quick in our lifetime. I put in $70,000 as my premium deposits, plus $30,000 for the first car purchase and another $30,000 for the second. So $130,000 went into the policy up to this point. I put in $130,000, but I took out $25,000 for car 1 and $25,000 for car 2. So $130,000 went in, I took out $50,000. $130,000 minus $50,000 is $80,000. So my true net injection is $80,000, but I'm sitting here at year 13 with $95,000 and some change as cash value in my policy. You know what else I have? I got 2 cars sitting in my driveway. I got a 10-year-old car and a 5-year-old car that I could keep, sell, donate, do whatever I want with. So did I just show you how to get all the money back for the cars that you're buying for yourself? You see, there's nothing I did any differently. All I changed is where the money was going first. I just flowed the money through the policy, then through the policy, I took out the cash to go purchase the car. And I did that because now I'm never losing out on the future earning rights that money is always going to buy me. I don't want to sound cheesy on y'all, but do you know a man by the name of Albert Einstein? Here's what Albert Einstein says. He says, compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. Those who understand it, earn it. And those who don't, pay it. What do you think we've been doing all these years? Paying the interest to the banks and other financial institutions. Now that I know this game, I'm just going to mimic and imitate and play the game right along there with them. But see, there's some rules to this. Rule number 1, pay yourself first. If you get nothing else from this time here today, this is really what I want you to walk away with. Pay yourself first. I know y'all have heard about that before, but do you ever do it? No. When you get money that comes in, what do y'all do with it? You go pay everybody else first. You pay the house people, the car people, Bobby's soccer practice, Susie's piano lessons, and you just hope and wait that there's some left over for you. Stop that. Treat yourself as your number 1 asset. Pay yourself first. I suggest it should be 10%. If I'm the type of person I'm making $100,000 a year, you should be saving and keeping at least $10,000. And that's the dollars that should start flowing through the policy. So pay yourself first. Rule number 2, pay yourself back and pay yourself back with interest. Treat your money just how you treat the bank's money. Because if you don't, you're just saying the banker's money is more valuable than your money, and that's just not the truth. And then rule number 3 is recycle and recapture the dollars. Y'all, if this works for a car, what else does it work for? Think about this. Instead of this being $10,000 premium deposits, what if this is a $1,000 premium deposit, and this is a $2,500 MacBook computer? Would the concept still work the same? Yeah, it's just smaller numbers. Instead of this being $10,000 a year, what if this is $100,000 a year? And this is a $250,000 house, and now you're just paying yourself back $5,000 a month or $6,000 a year. Does the concept still work the same? Yeah. It's just larger numbers. What about this? Who are my investors listening right now? Investors? Let's say somebody calls me up. I'm a lender. Let's say that I have Mary Smith calls me up and she says, Hannah, I got this rehab on this property I'm doing and I'm looking for some cash. Okay, how much are you looking for? I'm looking for $25,000. Okay, I'll loan you the $25,000. Where do I pull it from? The cash value that's in my policy. Then who do you think is paying me back this $500 a month or $6,000 a year payments? My borrower. Ooh, that just got really fun. Do you see why these banks are everywhere? And they're doing all of this stuff? Because they're doing it through these policies. Now, there's a gentleman by the name of Rick Warren. Here's what Rick Warren says. Life is like a marathon. It doesn't matter how you start. It only matters how you finish. This is the game of life. You see, you guys have absorbed this concept before. Do y'all remember or know of a gentleman by the name of Robert Kiyosaki? Famous for the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He also wrote another book called Second Chance. In that book, Second Chance, Robert Kiyosaki talks about this concept. But y'all read right through it and didn't think a second thing of it. Or what about Tony Robbins' Money Master the Game? Chapter 5.4 in that book, Tony Robbins talks about this concept. But again, you read right through and didn't think a second thing of it because it's never been explained to you this way. See, all I'm doing is I'm just going to play the game and mimic and imitate what the elite and the wealthy are doing. And so now instead of me just storing my wealth in their bank, I'm going to be storing my wealth in my privatized banking system, i.e. my policies. So rule number 1, pay yourself first, pay yourself with interest. Rule number 2, and then rule number 3, recycle and recapture the money. If it works for a car, what else does it work for? Our taxes. Y'all, this is how I pay my taxes every single year and I get all the money back for it. What about charitable giving? Ooh, Hannah, that's not right. God does not want me to get back my charitable giving. Really? If God did not want you to get back your charitable giving, He would not have you be sitting here on this computer screen learning how to get all the money back. Do you know any poor people adding on any wings to any churches? Neither do I. This is how I do it through my foundations every year, donating to those charitable organizations that are close to my heart. I do this because now I'm able to donate more and more and more every single year. I don't care what it is now. You are turning every liability into an asset, every depreciating asset into an appreciating asset, simply by running the money through the policy first. Here's your 3 resources. These are other books that you need to add to your wealth building library. Second Chance, Robert Kiyosaki, Tony Robbins' Money Master the Game. And I'm going to give a shout out to one of my close colleagues, Larry Steinhaus. In this book, Money Hacks, chapter 13, Larry talks about this. But here's my most favorite part about this book. Because everything you think you know about money is wrong. I just love that title. Because we're not taught this stuff. We are taught to go and work for our lives. Go out there into the working field. Save, save, save. Put your money into a 401k. Go to a good college. Let that degree take care of you. And then let the government take care of you for everything after that. How well has that been working out for us up to this point? Not very great. Now, this is the last thing I'm going to go over. This is called the Money Multiplier Map. This is a tool and a resource that we build for all of our members. You see, this whole life insurance policy, it needs to be designed specifically for this infinite banking concept. So this is what my company, the Money Multiplier, does. We build the policy, designing it properly for your needs, your goals, and then most importantly, once the policy goes active, how do I start using and implementing this process? And that's where my mapping team comes into play, where we're having meetings every single quarter. I kind of make the joke, love me or hate me, but we're going to be lifelong friends from here on out. Because this is all about the process of your banking. It's not so much about the product. You see, Nelson, he passed away in the year of 2019. But I remember this in his live seminars. He would always say, you want to be in two businesses in your life. The first business is the one that you're passionate about. Gets you up out of bed every day, supports your livelihood, supports the family. But the second business is the banking business, the business that finances everything throughout your life. And that's what we're here talking about, is that banking business within your life. In this example here, this is one of my father's chiropractic colleagues. Now, I'm not going to get into my dad's actual example because we really would be here for the next 6.5 hours. But this is one of his close colleagues. It's a doctor up in Minnesota. So Doc showed up at our front door, and he had these 13 third-party debts. We didn't create these debts for him. He just showed up at the front door with them. He owed Discover, Chase, Amex, Barclays, Lowe's, Nordstrom's, Wells Fargo, private loan, BMW, West Marine condo, and a house. That's what he owed to the third-party creditors. So when he shows up, he says, hey, I am in this financial mess, and I need help getting out of this financial hamster wheel. So we look over here to the left. All this is just time. Month 1 through 12, month 13 to 24. Then we have our premium deposit. He says, okay, I can put in $25,000 a year inside of this policy. That's what he chose. So, if you add up all of these debts, you have the outstanding balance, the monthly payment, the interest rate, and how many months left he has on that debt. If you add them all up from left to right, he has almost $470,000 of debt that's outstanding. I'm going to underpromise and overdeliver here. Let's say that it's $450,000 of debt. So take your paper, write $450,000 at the top of the page. If he were to take $25,000 a year and throw it at the debt, how long would it take him traditionally to pay off all the debt? Here's what you do. You take that $25,000, divide it into $450,000. It would take him 18 years. 18 years to pay off all that debt. So write 18 years at the top of your paper. So let's just see what happens. Instead, I'm going to use a policy to pay off these debts. So what I do is I put in my $25,000 into that policy, and then immediately, how soon is immediately? Within 30 days, I have access to 14 and some change that I can use to go start paying off debts. I take that 14, I pay off Discover, I pay off Chase, I pay off Amex, and I pay off Barclays. I then pay Lowe's down from $9,500 down to $7,600. Now what I'm going to do is take the monthly payment I was sending to Discover, Chase, Amex, and Barclays, and I'm just going to pay myself back that monthly money. And that's where this miscellaneous account comes into play. Miscellaneous account is nothing more than just a checking or savings account at your local bank. So now that I paid those off, I'm just going to pay myself back that $788 every single month. Am I working any harder? Changing my cash flow, taking any additional risk, or losing control of the money? No. because now I no longer have to pay these debts. They're not knocking at my door. I'm just going to pay myself back that money. Sun goes up, sun goes down. Year 2 rolls around. Year 2, month 13. I get my premium notice in the mail. I got to make my other $25,000 premium deposit. I put in my $25,000. I immediately have $14,800. I'm going to take that $14,800, add it to what I was paying myself back last year for a total of $24,000 and some change. I'm going to take that $24,000 and we're going to pay off more debt. I'm going to pay off Lowe's, pay off Nordstrom's, pay off Wells Fargo, and I'm going to pay BMW down from $17,000 down to $15,000. Now what I'm going to do is once Lowe's, Nordstrom's, and Wells Fargo is paid off, I'm going to take what I was sending them each month and I'm going to add it to the $788 that I was paying myself back last year for now a total of $1,622. I'm paying myself back the $1,622 now. You'll notice in month 18, this private loan gets paid off in the normal course of the loan. So when the private loan gets paid off, we add that to what we're paying ourselves back for a total of $2,500 each month. Again, am I working any harder? Taking any additional risk, losing control? No. Because now that they're not knocking at my door, I'm just paying myself back that monthly money. Sun goes up, sun goes down. Let's move on. Let's go to year 3. Year 3 rolls around. I put in my $25,000. Immediately, I have $22,000 and some change. Do you see why you never want to stop paying these premiums? Each and every year, that borrowing power becomes stronger and stronger. So year 3, month 25, I have $22,000 that I can take from the policy, plus my $25,000 that I was paying myself back last year, for a total of $48,000. I'm going to take that $48,000, pay off BMW, and pay down West Marine $47,000 down to $8,000. You'll notice here, month 27, West Marine gets paid off in the normal course of the loan. So what I do is I just take the money I was sending BMW and West Marine each month, and now I just add it to what I'm paying myself back for a total of $43.05 is what I'm paying myself back each and every month into that miscellaneous account. Again, am I doing anything dumb or ridiculous or idiotic here? No, I'm just using the policy to go and pay off these debts. Year 4 rolls around. My premium notice comes in the mail again. I put in my $25,000. Immediately, I have $25,966 as cash value in the policy. Do you get why you never want to stop paying your premiums now? You put in $25,000 and immediately you have $26,000. I'm going to take that $26,000, add it to what I was paying myself back last year for a total of $67,000. I take that $67,000 and I pay down the condo. I didn't have enough to pay them off yet, so I pay them down. I do not add any more to what I'm paying myself back because I did not pay off the condo yet. So I continue to pay myself back the $43.05 until month 48 when the condo gets paid off in the normal course of the loan. I think we're a little ahead of schedule here. We're at the end of year 4, about to start year 5, and all we have left is the house. I think we're a little ahead of schedule. Now I want you to get this. How much did we put in up to this point? Over just 3 years. I put in 25 year 1, 25 year 2, 25 year 3. So a total of $75,000 has gone in thus far. But I've taken out 14 and some change year 1, 14 and some change year 2, and 22 and some change year 3. I've taken out 50. I put in 75, I've taken out 50. How much is left inside the policy up to this point? You're probably thinking, well, 25,000, Hannah, right? No. The full 75,000 is sitting in your policy, growing and compounding at that uninterrupted guaranteed interest plus dividends. You see, when we are borrowing out of the policy, all we're doing is we're putting that policy up for collateral and we're taking a loan from the general funds of the insurance company. So I'm able to use their money out here in the real world, which allows all of my money that I've funneled into this thing up to this point is able to sit there, remain untouched, uninterrupted compounding interest. Is that cool or cool? I thought you'd be a little bit more excited about that. Let's get into year 5. Month 49, put in 25,000. Now I have 27,000 that I can take out and start using. I take that 27, add it to what I was paying myself back last year for a total of 78 and some change. I don't have enough yet to pay off the house. I paid down the house from 181 down to 102. I don't add anything else that I'm paying myself back because I did not pay off the house yet. I just keep trucking along with my $5,400 monthly payments back to myself. Year 6. Year 6, month 61. 10,000. Hey, I thought my premiums were 25,000. Why does it say 10,000 now? I won't get into it right now, but I do have some resources on this. Just reach out to me. But later on down the road, your premium will drop, and there's a reason for that. But here's really what I want you to get. Month 61, you put in 10,000 of premium. You immediately have 13,000 that you can take out and start using. I'm not a math genius, but I know if I put $10 into something, then immediately have access to 13, that's a 30% growth on my money just that year. How much of your money do you want growing at 30%? Hopefully the answer is all of it. So I take that 13,000, but I also open a second policy. Another $25,000 policy. You're probably thinking, well, Hannah, why did he start another policy? Why doesn't he just keep putting money into his first one? Again, we won't get deep into that right now. I'll turn you on to some resources where we really get deep into it. But here's what I want you to get. You can have branch offices of your bank. Just like how Wells Fargo, Bank of America, they have branch offices of their bank. You can have your own branch office of your bank. So he says, hey, this stuff is going really great and really well. I want to open up a second location, another office. And that's all he did. He just started a second policy, another $25,000 a year. So in policy number 2, he makes his premium deposit. Then he has immediately 14 and some change again to use. He takes the 14 plus the 13 plus the 65 he was paying himself back last year for a total of 93,000. He only had 90,000 left on the house. So he takes the 93, completely pays off the house, and now we're debt free. 5 years and 1 month is what it took us to pay off all these debts. How long did I tell you it was going to take us in the forefront? Traditionally, if I would have done this, 18 years. We didn't do it in 15 years, 10 years. We did it in 61 months, 5 years and 1 month. Here's what I want you to get as well. I want to talk about how much we put into the policy up to this point. Because year 1, we put in 25. Year 2, we put in 25. Year 3, 4, and 5, 25. Plus another 25 in year 6 and 10,000 in year 6. So we put in a total of $160,000 as our true outside net injection. You put in $160,000 and you just went and paid off over $450,000 of debt. How do you like paying off debt my way? Was there anything stupid, ridiculous, or idiotic here? Nope. I just used my policy to go and pay off the debt. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, well, Hannah, I don't got any debts. How is this concept really going to help me? I don't got debts. I get it. I don't got debts. I have my good debts, right? If you know us in the real estate space, you know that all debt's not bad debt. We love leverage. But you see, I'm going to keep having these expenses in my life, the gasoline for my car, the food that I'm going to eat, the heating, the electric bill, all of those other expenses are going to keep coming up in my life. It's not just for debt payoff, it's my expenses, my taxes, whatever I'm sending out there for my product services that I'm buying for myself. This works for anything, not just for debt payoff. Now, I'm going to skip over this just because of the time here. But you're probably thinking to yourself, well, Hannah, how come I've never heard about this before? Here's a young girl up there flapping her gums. How come I've never heard about this before? Well, here's an article that was posted on ESPN, dated November 16, 2016. Cash value life insurance makes Harborough College football's top paid coach. Y'all, the University of Michigan is doing this stuff. How about Disneyland? Walt Disney wanted to start Disneyland, but after failing in the pursuits of traditional means of financing, meaning that Walt walked into a bank and he said, Mr. Banker, I got this great idea. It's called Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. Will you give me a loan? They basically laughed at him. They closed the door in his face and laughed at him and said, heck no, we're not giving you a loan. So you know what Walt had to do? He had to provide his own means of financing. And a large portion of this came from collaterally borrowing money from his cash value life insurance. Or how about Ray Kroc with McDonald's? Ray Kroc wanted to partner with McDonald's brothers in 1955. Kroc did not take salary for the first 8 years, and to help with cash flow, he borrowed from his life insurance policies to cover for the key salaries of his employees. He also used some of the money for the advertising campaign that we know of as Ronald McDonald. And speaking of, I haven't seen Ronald McDonald around in a little while, so I wonder what he's up to. Hopefully he's doing okay. The Pampered Chef. I mean, the stories just keep going on and on and on. J.C. Penney, Stetson University. There's so many stories out there, Foster Farms, of families and business owners using this. But we're not taught. You see, one thing that Nelson Nash always talks about is it's sad that the life insurance industry did not teach its agents or the public about the characteristics of a whole life insurance policy. We're just taught from the big major gurus that it's bad. You shouldn't do that. It's just too expensive of life insurance. No, there's so many different things that you can do inside of these vehicles that you can't do with any other vehicle on this planet. And if you know of something, call me, tell me. My family's been looking for the last 20 plus years. We have not been able to find one. Now, everything that I've told you up to this point has been fact, but here's just my opinion now. Now that you know this, everybody should be doing it. Because if you're not, you're stealing from yourself, your grandchildren, your children, and future generations to come. Because you're letting the money leave the family. You know a gentleman by the name of Warren Buffett? Here's what Warren Buffett says. He says if poor people would just start doing what rich people do, they wouldn't be poor anymore. How much freaking sense does that make, y'all? Again, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I'm just going to mimic and imitate what these elite and wealthy folks are doing. Now, there's only going to be one of two things that happens to us. We're either going to live or we're going to die. Now, I like to use the word graduate, but you can use whatever word that you want to use. And if we live, are we better off with or without this concept? Hopefully I showed you with. And if we die, pass, or graduate, are beneficiaries better off with or without this concept? Yeah, because how much did I even talk about death benefit? There's going to be a death benefit on that policy whether you like it or not. And that death benefit is going to get paid out to the next generation. That's where the legacy, generational wealth aspect comes into it. Because look, see, there's us and the super wealthy. Us and the super wealthy. We all have access to the same financial tools. It's just how the wealthy are using these tools is different than us, the masses out here. You see, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Morgans, the Stanleys, the Barclays, they all understood money and how to keep the wealth within the family. And that's just one aspect of it, is the death benefit. But I mean, honestly, how much did he even talk about life insurance? Not a whole lot. I mean, if I could do the same thing, the same process and concept with plastic water bottles, I'd be hooting and hollering to you about how cool plastic water bottles are to keep my money in the family to recycle, recapture that wealth. How much did I even talk about that the policies are exempt from judgments and liens in most states? They're a protected asset. You know a gentleman by the name of O.J. Simpson? Here's what O.J. did back in the day. You know, he was put on trial in the criminal case for killing the Goldman boy, but he was found not guilty. But then he was called into civil court against the Goldman family, and he was found guilty in the civil suit. Did the Goldman family ever get any of O.J.'s money? No, because where was O.J.'s money? Tied up inside of his life insurance policies. How about internal values of the policy grow tax-free? That's right. And what's our largest eroder of wealth by Californians? Taxes. See, what I want to do is I want to pay tax on my money one time only at the lowest rate possible, and then get that money into a tax-free environment where now it's growing tax-free and the government is completely out of my hair. Totally backwards and opposite to what they are talking about in that 401k, that IRA, that they are so hoop-de-doo about that we should be putting our money into. How about loans never have to get paid back? Your loan on the policy never has to get paid back. You see, a loan on the policy is nothing more than a prepayment of your death benefit. I want you to pay back your policy loans. You should play honest banker with yourself, but is it a requirement? No, because at the end of it all, any outstanding loans will just get subtracted from the death benefit, and your death benefit is always going to be higher than the cash that's in that policy. Every year, cash value keeps rising, and every year, the death benefit keeps rising right along there with it. This is not the only reason we're doing this, but maybe one of the reasons why.
I wanna be a billionaire, so freaking bad. Buy all of the...
Now, I appreciate y'all for learning with me here tonight. Hopefully, I taught you something new, and I encourage you, go out and go do your research. I have my podcast show, the Money Multiplier Podcast. You can rewatch all of this on our website, themoneymultiplier.com, or you can scan the QR code on the bottom right-hand screen. And if this is something that you just want to talk about, you want to get your questions answered, see how it works for you in your own life, you can even schedule a call with myself or with the money mentor on my team. You can scan the top left QR code up there, and that takes you to the calendar to get a time scheduled with a money mentor. Call me, text me, y'all, and reminder, send me an email, hannah@themoneymultiplier.com. I will send you a copy of our ebook, Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery. So don't forget about this important resource. And I just appreciate y'all for being on, wanting to better yourselves in your financial life. So I am done. Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll catch y'all later. See you.